I'm throwing confetti and celebrating because you're here for the very first episode of the Confident Creator Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been a guest on a number of podcasts, and producing my own has been in the works for the longest time. Real talk. I'm super nervous but excited at the same time to be launching the Confident Creator Show. But I have you guys to thank for because you're the reason why I wanted to start this podcast. I get so many emails and messages with questions about building creative business. And my goal here is to provide you with the answers on marketing, mindset, and balancing life while growing your business. So to kick off the podcast, we're starting with a 3-part series on tackling the most common roadblocks for creatives and business owners. Now, a while ago, I asked you guys on Facebook and Instagram, what's the number one thing that's holding you back from doing what you want? And top of that list is fear. That's what this episode is all about. Hey there, I'm Maida Leon, and my mission is to help creatives like you translate what you love to do into a highly profitable income. I'm a mom of 3 who began as a lettering artist and grew it into a 6-figure business. If I made it possible, so can you. Every week, we'll dive deep into topics like building your confidence, getting comfortable talking about money, and nurturing your passion while juggling life and family. So if you're an ambitious creative who wants to craft the life you love, get cozy, feel at home, and listen to the Confident Creator Show. Whenever we do something for the first time, like this podcast, it's totally normal to feel afraid and uncertain about how things will turn out. Questions like these go through our mind. What if I fail? What if I don't get the results I want? What's going to happen if I don't make the amount of money I expected? Even worse than that, there's that underlying fear of what other people will say if and when we fail. And I get it. I myself have gone through that fear and uncertainty a lot of times. You see, it's a very human thing to feel fear. But what happens if that fear is so bad that it's stopping you from doing anything? We're constantly thinking of the what ifs to the point that we end up not taking the first step to reach our goals. But did you know that fear and excitement are actually the same feeling? You see, our brain is wired to see anything that is unknown to us as a threat. So right away, our defense mechanisms kick into gear. Imagine the first time you're getting on a roller coaster. Your adrenaline spikes, your heart rate increases, you're hyper aware of your surroundings, and you're suddenly feeling really nervous about taking the ride. Now imagine yourself in a dangerous situation, like driving for the first time through heavy rain on an unlit, winding, and narrow road up a cliff. Now, I don't drive. Chris does all the driving for us, but if you do and you've experienced that, what did you feel? How is that different from riding a roller coaster? Simply put, your body reacts in pretty much the same way when you're either excited or afraid. Excitement is just a more positive response. So if that's the case, then that means you can turn your fears into excitement, right? But how do we do that? I'm going to share with you a simple tip I used that helped me turn all that negative and fearful emotion into positive excitement that drove me to action. The very first thing you need to understand is that you have the power. You are in control of yourself and your emotions. You can shift your mindset so that you can create and do the things you want for yourself, your business, and your family, and not let fear take charge. And this is what I do every single time a fearful thought or question pops in my head. I ask myself 2 questions. The first one is, what's going to happen if I don't do this? And what are the possibilities that could happen if I do this? Let me tell you my answer to the first question. What's going to happen if I don't do this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing will change. I will still be dreaming about supporting my family, dreaming about writing a book, launching my course, and starting this podcast. All those goals will just be pipe dreams. If I don't do anything, I'd still be worrying to this day about money, about my children not getting the opportunities I want to give them. My husband would be stuck in a job that he hates. That is what's going to happen if I didn't do anything. As for the second question, what are the possibilities that could happen if I do this? Everything. Anything will be possible. My dreams will be a reality, and most importantly, the questions and worries that plagued me will be gone. It'll become a thing of the past. I'll be so excited about achieving my goals that I am raring to go and take action to make it all happen. That scared part of you? It's going to quiet down as you build excitement about going on this new adventure. This roller coaster of creating and growing your business, because you know it's going to bring about change. You start to look forward to new things and see doors of opportunities opening up for you. Doing this simple exercise of asking these two questions is going to turn your focus on the things you want to achieve instead of the worries and what if I fail scenarios you play in your head. That's where the magic happens. When you do this, once you're focused on something, you do everything in your power to achieve it. This is how you reprogram your brain to think about positive thoughts and focusing on the good things. Turn your thoughts into something more positive and focus on it, because what you focus on expands. Our thoughts are powerful, and we can only make things happen if we believe that we're able to do it. So now you know my very simple but life-changing tip on turning that fear into excitement to take action right away. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Why do you think other people succeed and others don't? Overcoming that fear of taking action is one thing, but how are we going to take action that's going to lead to success? I'm going to tell you the difference between a successful person and one who isn't. The difference is that successful people take risks. And I know that taking risks is a big driver of our fears. It's that scary monster under the bed that keeps us up at night. But taking risks is a necessity if you want to move forward. Let me share with you our personal experience with taking risks. My husband Chris used to be in a job that pays just enough to cover our basic expenses, like rent, the kids' tuition, groceries, and more. And we were pretty content with that. It was a security blanket because his job was a permanent position with benefits like healthcare and annual bonuses. And then he received a very tempting offer, a job which paid more than twice his current salary. What was the catch? It was a contract-based position. Everyone we knew in the industry avoided that offer because it wasn't a permanent job. Most of his friends said the same thing, that we'd be crazy to accept the offer. So Chris and I were terrified. What should we do about it? Does he accept and take on the risk that 12 months from then, he'd be out looking for another job? Or do we play it safe and be content with making do with what he was earning from his current job then? It was a major decision we needed to take, and we were both frozen scared about what to do next. I mean, who wouldn't be if you're faced with that decision? So we decided that we need to sit down and carefully think about it. We listed out the pros and cons of what taking on this new job would mean for him and our family. When we did this, one thing really stood out to both of us. We realized that even if he stayed in his then current company in the next 5 years, he would never get the same salary. Now that got us really excited. and we began making plans for how we can make this work for us. That simple mindset shift changed the entire scenario. So after talking it over, we came up with a plan to prepare for the worst case scenario. That at the end of his 12-month contract, he'd be unemployed. We were prepared to take on that risk. He'll be earning a much bigger salary and we'd save as much of it as possible and head back home to the Philippines with our savings if it comes to that. So we accepted the new job and braced ourselves for the worst possible outcome. We kept our spending to a minimum and saved like ants. I was still new to the lettering industry, so that period was so full of uncertainty. But here's the thing. Just because something bad could happen doesn't mean it will. Nothing is set in stone. And just before his contract ended, guess what? They offered my husband a permanent position. A position that includes all the bells and whistles a permanent employee gets. And let me tell you, that was such a good sigh of relief when we got that amazing news, because we didn't expect that at all. The thing is, that offer for a permanent position would never have happened if we didn't take the risk. It was terrifying to say the least, because it wasn't just the two of us. We have children, mouths to feed, therapies, medical bills, and schools to pay for. But there was one important thing that kept us sane and helped ease our fear during that period, and that was planning. Had my husband just accepted the job without proper planning, we probably would have lost a lot, spending the extra money on things we shouldn't be spending on. We'd continue worrying about the future and have no safety net in the worst possible scenario. The plans we made played a major role in helping us simplify our lives. We learned to spend minimally and put away the rest of the money in savings. So in case things go wrong and Chris loses his job, we'd still have money to tide us over for months while he's out looking for another job. These types of decisions aren't always easy to make. That's why you need to carefully think things through. And oftentimes, you just got to toss an idea around your head and let it stew in there. Explore the different possibilities available to you. That's what gave us the clarity to make that life-changing decision. We weighed the pros and cons of accepting or staying on his then current job. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have discovered that if he stayed with his current company for 5 years, he wouldn't get the same salary as the new offer. We planned on sticking to our current spending habits and saving the extra money from his new salary. We also knew that Chris's new job would give him more opportunities for growth and that his value would shoot up. And that would spell the difference if and when he had to look for another job. These were the possibilities that were hovering over our heads, and those were the reasons that pushed us to take the risk. Risk was and is a necessary ingredient in all of this. If we didn't face our fears, we would never have known what other opportunities lay ahead of us. We took a risk even when everyone around us told us not to. Today, my husband is working with me full-time, and that's a story I'll share for another day. But when he still had the job, we really did enjoy the perks of having annual bonuses and benefits. It was also at that point where my hand lettering business flourished and once again changed our lives. And all we did was shift our mindset and transform all that fear and negative emotion into positive excitement. It is that powerful. So my friends, if you're scared to do what you really want to do because of what other people will say, or your family might not support you, or perhaps you're afraid of the consequences of failure, I will still tell you to just go for it. You don't know what other opportunities you're missing out on if you don't start. Don't waste your energy on worrying and instead channel that energy into something more positive to help you achieve what you want or where you want to go. You owe that to yourself and the future of your loved ones. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that you enjoyed this very first podcast episode. and that you have learned something from it. As a bonus, I have a worksheet that you can download to help you work through your fears. You can find it along with the show notes on mydeleon.com/fear. Once again, go to mydeleon.com/fear to get the worksheet. Now, don't forget to join us on our next episode where we talk about the second top reason that's holding you back from doing what you want: self-doubt. Oh, I'm sure you can relate to this one. It's going to be another hot topic and discussion that's going to leave you inspired. I'll share why and how self-doubt is destructive and harmful. Plus, we'll talk about the 5 powerful ways to help you overcome it. So stay tuned for the second part of tackling the most common roadblocks for creatives and business owners. And if you love this episode, I would be so grateful if you can subscribe, rate, and give us a review. So keep creating and stay confident. Until next time, this is Mai.